I'm now joined by filmmaker Malachi Ray Rempen for our This Week in Germany Film Club. Each month we're going to watch a film from Germany and discuss the themes it brings up. So people who've heard the program before will know you as a comic author.
Cartoonist.
That's
right.
And you can listen to the full interview all about Malachi's work, Itchy Feet, in This Week in Germany Extra. But what people might not know is that your day job, so to speak, your trade is as a filmmaker.
Filmmaker, that's right. I trained in it. I've worked in the last few years, and it's definitely my passion. So I love watching movies, I love making movies, and let's talk about one.
Great. So what is January's film in our film club?
January's film club film, Daniel, is Der Baader Meinhof Complex.
So let's take a listen to a clip.
Germany, 1967. The children of the Nazi generation have grown up in the ruin their parents created. They vowed fascism would never rule their country again.
Diesmal werden wir Widerstand leisten. Wir haben eine Verantwortung vor der Geschichte. Wir bauen eine Gruppe auf. Wir werden die politischen Verhältnisse ändern.
That was a clip from the English language trailer of Baader Meinhof Complex. So, Malachi, maybe you could tell us a little bit about the background of the film.
It was made in 2008 about the left-wing extremist group RAF, which is Rote Armee Fraktion. They were a left-wing extremist group, terrorist group, that in the 1970s sort of carried out bank robberies, bomb attacks, executions, hijackings, kidnappings, all kinds of bloody and violent things, all in the name of fighting the man.
Yeah, fighting against American imperialism and so on, or what they perceived as that, against things like the war in Vietnam, and also the fact that Germany supported America by allowing them to have military bases.
All the people that were in power after the war were Nazis, or they were, if not directly Nazis, then they were they were still in control. You know, the principals of the schools, the people running the government institutions. A lot of them were the same people that were running these institutions during the Third Reich, and there was a lot of disgruntlement from the kids from that. And so that part of the reason that this group became so powerful and became so inspiring to younger people is because they were like, we're fighting against authority in the way that our parents failed to and continue to fail to do.
So, what did you think of the film filmically, in terms of the way that it was made? Was it a well-made film?
Absolutely. It's an expertly made film in every single way. It reminded me a lot of Steven Spielberg's film Munich, which is thematically very similar. It's also about a group of extremists, a group of terrorists from Mossad, the Israeli Secret Service, who, after the Munich Olympics, carried out a series of revenge terrorist attacks on various people within the Palestinian world in Europe. And it owes a lot to that film, not just thematically sort of discussing violence, discussing revenge, terrorism, this kind of thing, but also in the look, in the cinematography, and the sort of muted tones of Germany, and the fractured narrative, and the way it reproduces real life events. It's very similar. So if you enjoyed that film, you will love Der Baader Meinhof Complex.
So do you think it shows a particular style of German filmmaking?
I think what's great about it is that you get to see the German perspective of what happened in the 70s, how the Germans reacted to the violence of left-wing groups and extreme in the Vietnam War, how they reacted to that. That's not something you often get to see, and it's a very important and deep wound still in German history. These attacks that the RAF perpetrated was the bloodiest thing that happened in Germany since World War II, and so it's a deep scar in German society, and they face it in this film with the filmmakers, with their trademark just sober honesty and total transparency, and the way that they do with almost everything in their very bloody history.
The first half of the film has been criticized for kind of making the violent group, the left-wing terrorist group, Rote Armee Fraktion, seem attractive and appealing, whilst the second half, which is mostly to do with the court cases, is the half where their ideology comes undone, and it ends up seeing like a crazed series of murders of a group which is trying to lash out as they're falling apart and disagreeing. Do you think the film glorifies these left-wing groups too much or at all? I mean, how would you...
That was certainly some of the criticism that came out, especially from the older generation, saying, like, this film makes them look cool, it makes them look sexy, you know, and they were terrorists. And the answer is, they were cool, they were sexy. That's how the younger generation saw them at that time. And the film doesn't shy away from that. They were sunglass-wearing, rifle-toting cowboys. They were fighting against the man, and that's how the younger generation saw them. And again, their ideology comes undone, as you say, and they are extremists. But to try and present them in any other light than what they were seen as historically, I think it would be disingenuous. And so this is an excellent way of doing it completely transparently. Okay,
so would you recommend the film to people who are interested in Germany, and would you recommend the film to people in general who maybe don't really have a particular interest for German history as just a film to watch on a weekend, let's say?
All of the above. It's, it sounds maybe from how we've described it as being political thriller, that there's a lot of talking. There's really not. It's like every opportunity to have a gunfight or an explosion, they film it from every angle, and it's an action-packed film. It's also it's not a fun film or a funny film, but it's sober and serious, but it's...
exciting?
It's 2.5 hours long, and it goes by like that.
Okay, so you definitely recommend the film to everyone then?
Yes, that's right, Daniel.
Okay, thank you, Malachi. So that was the Baader Meinhof Complex. What about February's film?
Next month, we're going to be talking about one of my personal favorite films of all time, which is... Himmel über Berlin, which is, in English, it's called Wings of Desire. And it's a film made in the year I was born, 1987, and about a couple of angels living in Berlin. It's an amazing film. Definitely watch it, and we'll talk about it next month.
Yes, and send in all of your comments about the film as well, and we'll read them out in the program during our film club in February.